DNO, welcome to the podcast. Do you mind explaining to our audience who you are, if they don't know yet?
Well, hi, my name is DNO. I stream on twitch.television. That's what I do.
Televi. Is it Z or S?
It's a very inconvenient URL, I agree. But yeah, no, I stream 3 days a week. I try to show people old, dank video games maybe they hadn't seen before. That's about it.
Yeah. You do play a bunch of kind of old, shitty games sometimes.
How dare you?
I mean, I'm just saying, I love them, but, the general consensus would be to maybe say that, I guess, to describe him. But sometimes.
Never played a shitty game in my life. I don't know this man. I don't know how I got here.
Cool. So you do stream on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
I really like your stuff, man. I have to say, I'm kind of a fan.
Well, thank you.
And I really like to listen to you, and I still listen to you because you don't show your face on stream. You're one of those no cam streamers.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, typically, I don't care so much about these types of streamers. That's a personal preference, right?
Yeah.
But with you, it's different. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way with you, and also feel the same way with other no-cam streamers. But why did you decide to not to show your face on stream? And actually, I guess show your face anywhere, because right now, we don't. If you're listening, he's not showing his face on YouTube as well. I don't even know what he looks like, and I don't think many people do. So, can you mind explaining that to us?
Well, probably my primary reason for not showing my face is because if I did, you'd see somebody pretty close to Tom Hanks in Castaway, and I don't know if anyone wants to see that. So
now I do.
Well, that totally ruined the image I had of you, by the way. I was like, This is probably, you're the most beautiful human on the face of the earth. So
oh no, absolutely not. Oh no, it's dreadful. You don't want to see that.
It's dreadful.
So is that like a self-confidence thing, you would say? Yeah.
Well, it's that, and I just don't currently have a webcam, and I've never felt particularly motivated to procure one.
Yeah.
We could send you one, if that's helpful.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, mostly it's the first thing.
The other one's just the excuse, but the first thing is mostly okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair, man. Honestly, I've streamed a bit in my life, and I can tell when you're showing your face, it's kind of it adds a pressure, I feel, or there's something extra that. I respect you not wanting to have that extra pressure on your shoulders and just being able to talk, and that's and it works wonders for you as well. I think that there's a magic. You have a really nice voice. I'm not flirting. I'm just saying. You have a really nice voice. You're really funny. You're witty. You're really entertaining to listen to. And I don't feel like I need to see you. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm not missing it because you're. And this podcast is not about saying how great Dino is. He is, but that's not the whole purpose of this. But yeah, I think it works for you, man. I really do. I really think it does. But. Do you get a lot of people asking to see your face?
I've gotten asked by probably a couple dozen people, yeah. And it's just I don't really feel the need to, I don't really know what that would add to the stream experience.
Yeah.
Not to mention I'd have to start acting with my face,
and
I have no acting range whatsoever.
It's hard. And it can be really cringe, and that's really something it's kind of risky, especially when you do humor and jokes and whatever. There's a potential for cringiness in there when you're showing your face. When or where does this love for old games come from?
Jeez, let me see. Probably how old was I? Probably 4 or 5. I think the first time I had ever seen a video game, I was over my uncle's house. He was playing Mega Man 4, I think, Whichever one had like the rain stage where the wind is blowing and it makes your jumps all fucky.
I have no idea. I always hated Mega Man. It's too hard for me. You know.
Yeah.
I don't like to inflict that kind of pain on myself.
Yeah. And like even at the time, Mega Man would have been pretty old because the Super Nintendo would have been out by the time I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then it's just I didn't really have the money for things growing up for like any games really. I bought what I could, but usually the stuff that I did end up buying was already pretty old, and I just kind of developed this affinity for old shit because that's what I had really.
Yeah.
And I've just never particularly felt it was necessary to keep up with the times, and I just play old shit for people.
I love old games, but do you not like new games? Is that a thing? Is that how you feel about newer games? Do you think like old games are better than new games?
No, I think every game has its place, really. I think every single video game ever made, whether it's like a cool art style or a dope soundtrack or whatever, cool gameplay mechanics, every video game, no matter when it was made, has something in it that you cannot experience somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that makes every game inherently worth checking out, really.
So what is your favorite, like, newer game?
Streets of Rage 4.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
He wasn't paid to say this. He wasn't paid to say this.
This is unsponsored.
Unsponsored right now. Streets of Rage 4, available now on every single platform. And a new DLC that just came out, which is awesome. Okay, enough. That's not sponsored for real. But like, okay, let's say a newer game that is not attached to an old, like, older franchise.
Ooh, let me think.
Like, do you play these like off stream?
No. I find, and a lot of streamers that I've talked to find, that once you start playing games on stream, it becomes more and more difficult to play games off stream because you feel like you're wasting your time, sort of, because you don't want to show, or you don't want to like squander your first reaction with something new off camera because you want the chat room to be able to participate in that moment with you. And a lot of streamers, just like myself included, they just kind of don't do that. You have less time to play things off stream.
Yeah, that's fair, but at the same time, like, you don't play modern games on stream, so if you wanted to play modern games, you could easily just play them off stream and that'd be fine, no?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I also don't got time for that shit. Too busy.
Okay, what is the most modern console that you own?
I have a PS4. I don't have a PS5.
Okay, so
but
you're more a PlayStation guy.
But it is to my understanding that most people don't have a PS5.
Yeah, I just got one not so long ago, and I was, I had to go through like different Discords telling us when shit was in stock and whatnot. Yeah. It was a real pain in the ass, but finally got one. Pretty cool. But PS4, okay. And what is okay? So then, I just want to get at the bottom of this. What is your favorite PS4 game?
Probably Spider-Man.
Okay, that's a cool choice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. Yeah. Why did you like it so much?
Well, out of all the open world, like, action, third-person open world adventure type games that there just seems to be 1,000 of these days, that one's probably the most fun to me just because the act of moving around is fun. You can just kind of flip and dip and swing all over the place, and you don't really get that in the games that are like it as much. Almost
like what GTA does as well, right? You can just run around or like, get in the car and just like roll around the city, drive around the city and just enjoy the view in a sense. Like Spider-Man kind of has that feeling. I get it. Like, swinging from a web across the city.
If you're given this giant open world, I think it needs to be fun to actually move around in it.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man totally nails that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. In the progression. No, it's a great game. I actually played Miles Morales as well.
Yeah.
It was good, not as good, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Maybe because it's so similar, other than the story. Like, it's so similar that, I don't know, I was expecting a little bit more. But and it didn't have that special feeling of like playing the first one, you know, like when
Right.
you know. But yeah, that's a good pick. All right, that's cool. Now I want to talk about social media with you, man, because frankly, you know, whenever a creator asks me like, you know, how can I grow my stream? You know, how can I get discovered? And I'm like, the last thing I'm going to tell him is to tweet and grow a following on Twitter. Like, that's the last thing, because I don't believe that Twitter, that's my opinion, right? I don't believe that Twitter is a discovery platform. I think it's a platform to communicate with your audience that's already exists, and that other platforms are much better to get discovered on. For you, it seems like it's a different story. Like, it seems like you grew on Twitter before you actually started growing on Twitch, or maybe even before you started streaming.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
So it was probably like 2014, 2015. You know, I just like made this Twitter account. I had a Tumblr account too that I don't use anymore because who's got time for that shit? And I wasn't really doing anything. I wasn't streaming yet. I wouldn't start streaming till like 2019. And I didn't really know why I even had this Twitter account. I can talk to people, but I can also talk to people without Twitter. You know, there's shit like Discord these days, group chats, there's all sorts of things that... So you don't really need Twitter for anything. And so I just kind of started thinking, what can I post on Twitter that I don't see anybody else posting on Twitter that I find interesting? And I know I enjoy fighting games a lot. I follow a lot of fighting game players.
Yep.
Part of the, quote, fighting game community, unquote. Although I'm probably not as deep into it as a bunch of other actually talented fighting game players. But I've always been a fan of, like, glitches and bugs in video games, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very specific, like, subgenre of Twitter post that I didn't see anyone posting before. So I just started, like, making fighting games misbehave. I happen to know a bunch of fighting game glitches, how to do them. I can tell people how they work. Or I could just, with no context whatsoever, post a video of a fighting game where just a character flies away for no reason. He's not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But the game allows it to happen if you know exactly how to make that happen. And people find that kind of thing funny, and I would just post it with absolutely no context. People start liking the tweets. More people start to follow, and then I just kind of kept doing it because I found it fun, and it seemed to be working as far as, like, Twitter growth was concerned. Although at the time, I didn't really care about my own Twitter growth, because it's not like I was doing anything other than posting silly Twitter clips.
Yeah, but you were making OG content, though, right? Like, I mean, you were creating that content from scratch. You weren't looking online on Reddit and stealing other people's shit and, like, putting it on your Twitter. Like, people saw the quality and, like, that you were the guy making these, right?
Yeah. Everything that I had posted was performed by hand and recorded myself through, like, OBS or whatever kind of dank OBS we had in 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. You know, like, that. I think that's a great way to look at how to bring value to social media, especially now. It was true, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's true now, even more so than ever, because there's so much recycled stuff on social media. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, nobody give anybody nobody credit for stuff anymore, and it's fascinating to me when I look at your Twitter. Go check it out, by the way, guys. DNO PLS. Dino, is it Dino Please? Is that what you're trying to say here? Is that your name?
That is how it is pronounced. You are correct.
Yeah, Dino Please. All right. So, but it's not spelled like that, right? But if I look at your posts and I look at the engagement on your posts, like, I'm like, this guy must have, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 like average viewers on Twitch. Right? You know, like, seriously, like, I mean, because you have so much engagement on Twitter. It's fascinating. How much did it help you gain a following on Twitch when you decided to finally go and stream retro there?
It absolutely probably made my entire Twitch career so far to already have, like, a Twitter audience. The first few streams I streamed a few times before I ever told Twitter about it, because I'm like, I'm not trying to bug people on Twitter with these streams. What the hell? I'm going to post that I'm tweeting. They're going to jump into my chat room. They're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Do a glitch. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
You're known for that, right?
Yeah. Those first few streams, I only probably got like 10, 15 people watching, because I just told my friends about it. And then they were like, oh, yeah, I'll watch that. And then it was, I don't know, it was probably weird. Hadn't developed my hashtag streamer voice yet.
I guess, like, I'm just curious, is that something that you would suggest for other creators to kind of start on social media or work on their presence there? Or do you think you just got lucky, or what would you say for that?
I would probably say it's a combination of both. It would help. It would be a lot easier for you to build your stream, I think, if you already had some kind of base somewhere else. For sure. Because Twitch has, frankly, way too many streamers. You're going to be absolutely, like... Yeah. You're going to be lost in this, like, sea of content. It's going to be really hard for people to find you.
For sure, yeah.
But if they already know you, because maybe you have a cool Twitter account, then it's going to be a little bit easier.
For sure.
Yeah, that's basically how it worked out for me.
Yeah, so you got like 10, 15 followers. Did you post it? So you didn't post on Twitter yet at that time, or did you?
Yeah, probably like the first 5 or 6 streams, I did not bother to post it on Twitter. And then as soon as I did, immediately more people showed up, and there's just this, like, exponential, not that quickly, though, growth on the channel that I noticed. It's like, oh, maybe I should have been shilling myself a little more. People seem to enjoy the streams, actually. Because I didn't think that they would.
Why?
Honestly, because I had a very specific kind of Twitter content that I gave people. Like a really specific thing. And I assumed that if I started streaming, that people would only want to see that specific thing. And I was trying to get away from that a little bit, just so that I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, but like at the same time, these are 2 different platforms, you know, like people come and they check you out. That's the most important thing. And then whatever you do, they can decide if they want to stick around or not at that point. But at the very least, you got people to check you out, if I can say it like that, you know, initially. And they stuck around. They stuck around because, you know, you still, I mean, if I look at the numbers, you're one of the biggest retro streamers out there. And retro is very niche.
That's true.
But, you know, you're not, by any means, you're not a big streamer on Twitch, because no retro streamer is big streamer on Twitch. Like, you know, that doesn't exist. I hope it does one day, for real, because I love that category. It's something that's very close to my heart. But yeah, and definitely a lot of fun to watch. But so the shit games, like, we're talking about it, we're joking about it, but like, you do play games that I'm like, it just creates, it's very humorous, it's very fun. It's like, you know, you play games that are pretty shitty. I mean, am I crazy here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on.
I don't know what he's talking about.
All right, the interview is over. Thanks for being here. You know. All right.
I've certainly played games. I've played games I would describe as dank.
Okay.
I've said this to a lot of people, and every time I tell people this, they never believe me. They're like, you're absolutely wrong. That's bullshit. You're crazy. You're out of your mind. I genuinely think that there's not a single game I would ever describe as shitty. There's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you on this. I'm just trying to get you to talk. That's what I'm trying, but I do agree with you, though. Like, I feel the same way. And I have some quote-unquote shitty games in my collection that I absolutely fucking love. You know what I mean? Like, I'm laughing my ass off playing it, but it's just terrible. Tokyo Beatdown is one of them. I don't know if you've ever played this. It's
a DS I've seen
game.
it. Yeah.
It's so great. It's one of my favorite games ever. You know? But yeah, no, I know what you mean. I agree with you.
But yeah, no, I've played a few games that I would maybe describe as not the greatest game on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes you're not in the mood to play something fantastic. Sometimes you just want to kind of reach into the barrel, go all the way straight to the bottom. What people don't realize about the barrel of games is that there's a second barrel underneath the first barrel, and that's what I'm going for. I'm trying to show people some absolutely dank shit that barely functions.
Yeah, which is great. Again, it's creating something like that's very unique in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
That people can't really find elsewhere, because, you know, obviously on Twitch is one thing, but even in retro, like we were talking to Argik a couple of weeks ago, and he does a lot of speed running, and he plays a lot of Sonic. But that's like a niche on its own. But there's a lot of speedrunners in retro, and you don't do that. At least I've never seen you do speed running. So
I have never speed ran once in my life. That is correct.
Exactly. I tried. It lasted about 10 seconds. I might go for do some low runs. You know? And slow runs. Slow runs. And but then, frankly, at least the last time I checked, like the whole like category, the retro category, you know, there's a lot of people playing, like doing speed runs. You're kind of a niche within the niche, not doing speed runs in retro.
Yeah.
And then going after like kind of obscure, let's call them that, obscure games.
That's a good word for it.
Obscure games within the retro category. Again, it's very niche, but it's very cool. It's fun because like I think there's a lot of hidden gems. Let's call them that too. Maybe it's another word. Hidden gems, right? Under the retro category, because basically it's like any game ever made until like 5 years ago now, maybe 10. Let's say 10, so we don't like, you know, piss people off. 10 years back.
The exact definition of retro has been a topic of a heated debate for generations.
Yeah.
Every time I play even something as recent as like a PS2 game, there's a bunch of people, let's call them the retro police, that show up in my chat room. And they're like, you got your category set to retro, but you're playing a PS2 game. What's up with that? Are you sure? Are you sure this is really retro PS2? Really? And I'm just like, dog, this game came out like 15 years ago. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. No, I mean, PS4, like PS4, before the PS6 comes in, PS4 is going to be retro in my mind.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
I think that it's more about like technology being
yeah,
outdated and replaced than it is about actual like numerical age, you know.
Yeah.
As soon as the 3DS came out, the DS was retro to me because there's a new one.
Exactly. It's
That's how I
old
see
technology. Like it's old, old
Yeah.
tech. But there's literally 1 trillion games.
That's true.
You know, there's so many games, and part of the fun, you know, is to find these gems. Like, how much do you spend time doing like some research, and like how do you get to pick the games that you end up playing on stream?
I am constantly researching. You can't see it because there's no webcam, but I've been Googling stuff this whole time, my guy. But yeah, no, basically I got a few like databases that I flip through. I just look for some shit. I think about what I've streamed like recently. So I just played a game for the Sharp X68000, which is like an old Japanese computer from the 90s.
Okay.
And so I'm like, all right, I got one of those. Let's not stream a 68K game for a while. Let's look at some other platforms. I haven't played a DOS game in a while. Let's look at the DOS game database. Let's see if any of these look interesting to me. And then we find the interesting ones, and we completely ignore them and go for the dank games that are beneath them.
Yeah, which is very interesting because it's like discovering something new. Like, I love the good old video games. Like, you know...
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Ocarina of Time. Like, the N64 for me is my favorite console. If you guys don't know that about me. N64.
It's a good pick.
Yeah. Was that?
Oh, I said it's a good pick.
I mean, it's just it's because of the time, like the age I was. I guess I'm just so nostalgic about the N64. You know, it's just that period of time. I was when I started playing it, maybe like 11, 12, 13 or something like that. I don't know. And young teen kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Mario 64, probably my top 3 games ever, and I replay them gladly whenever. Probably played Ocarina of Time 20 times now. But I know the games. Like, everybody knows Ocarina of Time. Most people do, if you haven't lived on Mars for the past 20 years, or if you're not like 15 or something like that. But like, finding this game that literally 3.5 people have played in the world, like, that's fun. Like, someone worked on that shit. Someone spent a lot of time like making it. Let's showcase it. I love it. Like, for me, it's discovery. Like, you're researching your games and you bring it live, and then people discover it with you.
I mean, that's kind of how I look at my stream, the same way I looked at my Twitter account. There's other retro streamers, obviously, lots of speedrunners in there, but most of the games that they're playing are games that people have seen before, games people have heard before.
Yeah.
So, kind of just like my Twitter account, where I'm like, here's a thing that I don't actually see people posting about. When it comes to retro streaming, I don't see a lot of people just taking a bunch of different games, sometimes multiple games per day, just a different game every single stream, And like, here's some weird, like, Taiwanese beat 'em up that no one's ever played before, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a gap there. So you just got to fill that gap, and then your audience will grow. That's the way I see it. You find something that nobody's doing, and you just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and you're having fun doing it. You're not like trying to do something that you think is a good idea, but you're not enjoying. Obviously, you're enjoying it.
It's been a lot of fun.
I mean, I bet. So what is your favorite shittiest game you've ever played?
Probably my favorite shitty game's got to be Battle of the Eras. It's a DOS fighting game that has the unique distinction of selling 0 copies. This game made no money.
That's amazing.
Literally? Is that a fact?
That is a fact. That is a Googleable fact.
Wow. And what is so bad about it?
The game just does not work at all. You try to launch the game, you've got a 50-50 chance it's going to crash immediately. First of all, you got to get past that. You get to the main menu, the main menu's not programmed properly either. Some of the buttons don't work. Then you pick your character. You got to hope the game doesn't crash again. And then you finally get into a match because it's a fighting game.
Okay.
And then every single button combos into itself, so all you gotta do is land one hit, and then you win the match by just holding the same button down. And the game doesn't work. Every single aspect of this game is fucked. I love it so much.
Wow. That's, might need to try it now.
It's so good. Good luck trying to get it to run.
That's amazing.
Yeah. How do you play all these games? Do you emulate them all, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's basically, there's no point lying about it. I emulate everything because, frankly, old games cost a lot of money these days.
Yeah, for sure.
I find old games are getting, like, more and more expensive. Just, like, I think a copy of Earthbound Complete in Box sold for, like, $15,000 recently, and it's like, whoo!
Okay, that's good to know.
I don't got Earthbound money,
I got my copy behind me here.
Yeah.
No, but it's of course, and you playing all these super rare, like, never seen before kind of games, so like just finding that would be tremendously difficult. The only thing is that I would be missing in this case, because I did stream retro, and when I did, I plugged in. I went through the trouble of like plugging in my old consoles, and like, it was a not easy to do.
Right.
Let me tell you. But the only thing I would miss from emulating is like using the controllers, the original controllers. How do you manage that?
I have a few peripherals I use. For the most part, I just kind of use my old reliable Xbox One pad, which is still, I mean, it works. It's getting there. It's getting to the point where I need to buy another one. But I also have an arcade stick that I use for a ton of old shit where, I don't know, it's just like, that's the comfort zone for me, really. You get the nice sound of the stick moving. You got these nice clacky buttons.
Yeah.
I've never particularly cared for a lot of old controllers anyway, like the N64. Not to shit on the N64.
No,
I know
please.
that you've already poured your heart out to the N64, but I think that the N64 controller is like the single worst design controller ever made. It's got 3 handles, but I've got 2 hands. I don't know how this is meant to work. So it's just sometimes I mean, there's some things about old games that I don't really miss too much. Having to use old controllers is probably one of them. If you like that, that's totally fine. I completely respect that. But I will not be participating in that if I don't have to.
Well, the N64 is like the perfect case study if you want to look at what's really valuable in gamers' minds. Like, it's IP. Like,
that's true.
You know, you didn't play the N64 because it was more powerful than the other console. You didn't play the N64 because the controller was awesome. Like, it was shit. It was garbage. But I love it. I love that garbage because it makes me play the games that I love the most in the world, right?
That's
it lets
totally
me do
valid.
You know, so like, so games, you know, more important than powerful consoles and great controllers in my mind.
I agree with that, I think.
So that's it. So Xbox One controller, you said, right?
Yeah. I have an arcade stick. I have
well.
a real Arcade Pro 4, unsponsored, by the way.
Yeah. The Pro 4, what is that?
I think it's a PS4 like arcade stick. It's like PS3, PS4. I got it. I'll be honest with you. I asked people, I'm going to buy an arcade stick. I've never had an arcade stick before. What stick should I get? Yeah. And a bunch of people showed me a bunch of sticks, and then they linked me this blue one, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting the blue one, and I didn't think any farther past that. The decision was made.
So if we want to sell you something, it better be blue.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's good to know.
Noted.
Good to know. There's a blue cheeseburger.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Where do you see yourself in, like, you know, this is not an interview. I mean, for a job. I mean, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, you know, where is that content leading you, and where are you trying to go with this with this content on Twitch?
So, I don't know if you've seen like the first stream that I ever did compared to the most recent stream.
I mean, I will now.
If you I have all my VODs on YouTube, by the way. If you go to like stream number 1 and you look at the production values of that stream compared to this one, you will see that not one single thing has changed. I got the exact same 4 slides. People think that you need like crazy production values to stream. I got 4 slides. I got a starting soon screen, a be right back screen, thanks for watching, and then I have the actual like stream scene. That's it. And it's just it's never steered me wrong. So in 5 years, I foresee that we'll still have the same 4 slides. Maybe I'll have a new one for like 16:9 games because I'm still working on that. That's in the oven. But as far as content goes, hopefully I'm able to. There's a bunch of platforms that I'd still like to be able to get around to. And maybe in 5 years, emulation will be to the point where we're able to run more things. Like the Nokia N-Gage is one of them, where emulation's still a little spotty on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But as the years go by, more and more old shit becomes playable, just because some very dedicated individuals are reverse engineering how all these things work. So I'm hoping that even if the process of making streams doesn't change and the production values definitely aren't going to change, hopefully I'm able to show a greater variety of games to people, because that's really all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to show people some stuff they haven't seen before. Yeah
That's cool. You did pretty well for yourself on Twitter. What do you think of TikTok?
What do I think of TikTok? I've never heard of a TikTok in my life. Explain this to me.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm kidding. I've seen TikTok. I've watched a TikTok or two in my day. I don't have
that's impossible. You can't just watch one or two. It's either 0 or like 40, and then you're like, yo, an hour just passed. I just watching some garbage like for an hour. What's going on here? Then you uninstall or you keep going. It's either or, but yeah.
While I personally don't participate in the TikTok let's call it the TikTok. I'm still pretty connected to like the fighting game community, and I noticed that a lot of fighting game players, fighting game streamers that I follow are getting more and more into TikTok because they find that the rate of growth for them has been faster on TikTok than on Twitter and on Twitch.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it must be pretty popular, this hip new TikTok thing.
I'm telling you, like, TikTok about 1,000 times better than Twitter for discoverability. Probably 1,000,000 times better, frankly. I really don't. I think you're a very odd case on Twitter. I think you release some great OG content, which is great. I also think, you probably some luck involved in there and so whatnot. But, like, I think if you took that same approach on TikTok, released your OG content, which, most of it is, videos anyways, it's clips, right?
Yeah.
So it would apply super well on TikTok. I'm telling you, my advice for you, man, get on the tick to the talk right now.
I'm going to write that down in my notepad. Here I go.
On your fridge every morning when you make coffee, you look at it. Xavier said, get on TikTok. Remember it. No, but for real, I think your content would do great there as well. Because
sure.
I don't think it's only shit content there. I think there's some really, really great content. I think it's just like, because you get to see shit, frankly. You get to see shit content because the algorithm just throws you random stuff all the time. It's not about, like, who you follow. That's the problem with Twitter, and I'm sure they're working on it. They've been working on it. Like, at some point, they were just showing you what you, like, content from the people you followed.
Right.
Then, then you could see tweets that other people that you follow have liked and whatnot, or engaged with whatnot. Like on TikTok, you literally, like, I see content from the people that I follow like once every 20 TikToks or something like that, So they just throw a lot of stuff at you and a lot of random stuff, and it's a bit like, I almost feel like TikTok is like Tinder for content. It's like you swipe right or left.
That's so true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you don't like it, you swipe real fast, to the, or up, if you will, to go to the next one. But if you watch the whole thing, TikTok's like, oh, this guy's been watching this other dude, like, pet his little puppy that has a little costume like 5 times, so we're gonna give him a ton of stuff like that in the future. And I know for a fact that's what's happening. And sometimes I'm just rewatching the same show, I'm like, oh fuck, TikTok's gonna think I really want more of that, and I'm just scrolling down real fast, So, but yeah, I think it's a great platform for discoverability. Probably the best right now. It's getting a little,
I believe it. That's what I've been seeing on Twitter, is a lot of people moving over to TikTok. Sometimes moving entirely over to TikTok. I'm not tweeting shit anymore. Y'all are done. See me over here.
Yeah.
Join the future is now, old man. Get a TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I mean, Twitter. Now we're like TikTok, Twitch, Twitter. My God, Twitter.
Yep. Too many
Twitter,
T websites.
Yeah, too many T's, man. Come on, what's going on here? So Twitter can be very frustrating. Like, you keep on trying. If you have any kind of expectations on Twitter, you're going to be disappointed. Just the way I see it, I don't really tweet anymore. I kind of want to, but I really don't. But, like, the way I see it personally, it's like my personal journal or something like that. I tweet for myself. Like, I don't really care, like, I don't know who's gonna look at it and engage with it or whatever.
Right.
It's like Twitter's not gonna decide one day to be like, oh, this is a dope tweet, let's show it to 1 million people. Like, that's not gonna happen. On TikTok, though, can very well happen. Not out of the blue, but if the content is great and people interact with it and watch it a lot, it's definitely gonna happen.
I've even found myself using Twitter less these days, too. I still use it to announce every stream, and occasionally I'll still post, like, fighting game jank if I'm in the mood for it. But I find, especially these days, that using Twitter less is self-care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I want to keep up with what's going on social media and Twitter and all that stuff, but, like, I feel I'm getting more towards, like, my relationship with Facebook that I've built over the years, like 15 years ago or whatever. on Facebook, posting, writing some random shit, and like building my friends list, whatever. Now I haven't been on Facebook in 2 years. I shit you not. And I feel like older platforms like this, like they transform so much, and they get really it's cluttered. There's a lot of shit happen. I don't know. I think it loses, to me, it loses their essence, or at least what they used to be. Now I sound like a fucking boomer. I don't care. All right, fuck off.
Oh, it's all right. Join the club, friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Geriatric millennial is actually
that's
the correct term.
That's the word for it. So, no, but yeah, like new platform. It's just refreshing to see a new platform come out. Like because Facebook, Twitter, and all that's like we're talking about Tumblr. Like there hasn't been something that refreshing in a while. Whether you like it or not, it's just the new kids on the block, the new kid on the block, and it's just like it's fun to see that and see people getting success and getting discovered with that platform. That's a really cool thing for me. It's like there's so much talent out there that having a platform that allows people to really utilize that and like really get discovered, and so people can spend some more time looking at their awesome creative stuff that they do, whatever they do. It's just awesome. So
I definitely agree that there's like there's this huge plethora of talent that even like nowadays there's still a ton of, let's call it, undiscovered talent.
Of course.
Even some friends of mine have like the most insane, like crazy production values I've ever seen on their stream. Their shit is like way better than mine, and it's like for some reason it's just not as many people watch. And I really wish they did. Maybe if they get on TikTok, that'll change.
That's you go.
That's what I'm gonna tell them.
Just don't write just one post-it. Write like 4 or 5 post-its. Xavier said, "Go on TikTok."
Yeah,
and just give it to him. Like that might help.
That's gonna be my good deed for the day.
Gonna
tell all my streamer friends to get on TikTok.
Get on TikTok.
All right, you got it.
Well, Dino, we're running out of time. It was an absolute pleasure to talk with you, man, today. And it's even though we can't see each other, I can feel you. I could feel you. It was a lot of fun, dude. I mean, and I wish you best of luck for the future.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
I will absolutely try to do that.
And where can people find you online?
You can find me on
TikTok at DNO.
You'd find. I gotta go secure that TikTok.
We're gonna make you a TikTok account. So
all right, you got it. You can find me on twitch.tv/DNOPLS. Twitch.television. I also have a Twitter account with the same name. You can't find me anywhere else. Stop looking for me.
So Twitter, Twitch, and soon TikTok. Great.
Maybe. We'll see. Probably.
Nice to talk to you, man.
Yeah, it's nice to talk to you too.